In today's short video, we're going to explain a way you guys can improve your training using something called progressive overload. Now, all progressive overload is extra stress placed on the body from week to week using volume or intensity. And you can apply this with your training. Now, let me give you an example of, guys, maybe you can relate to this as well, is that, say for instance, you decided you started riding your bike to work every day to the station for say 10 minutes it took you. Now, at first, when you start doing it, you'll probably see a benefit. You might even lose a bit of body fat, you might get a bit fitter because you just started riding a bike. But again, the body's really good at adapting to these things and it will kind of integrate it into everyday life. And it won't no longer be under stress like it was when you first started riding to the station. So we're not going to use any more energy. We're not going to use as many more muscles to cycle. So there's a way we can apply progressive overload in order so we don't get that same thing where we end up doing the same routine, the same weights, and not get the results you want. We're going to take you to the board to give you an example of this. So progressive overload. Now we're going to apply this with a back squat movement. We're going to explain how this can work, how you can apply this with your training and get the most out of it. So take, for example, week 1, we do a back squat, 4 sets of 10 reps at 30 kilos. That means our total weight lifted for that one exercise will be 1,200 kilos. Now, if we were to try and overload the muscle on week 2, we do exactly the same movement, 4 sets of 10, but 32.5 kilos, giving us a grand total of 1,300 kilos lifted. So obviously from a strength perspective, if you're lifting heavy, you are going to get stronger and you're going to force their muscles to grow because you're placing them under more stress week to week. But from a fat loss perspective, if you're lifting an extra 100 kilos from week 1 to week 2, like we've done in the diagram, you're going to use a lot more energy in order to do that. A lot more energy is going to be fat burned, because that's all fat burning is, energy use. If you're eating the same amount of food, but you're training harder from week to week, by changing the intensity, the volume, the tempo, you're going to be able to burn more body fat without even changing your calories. You can apply this with mainly any sort of exercise. If you swim and you do 20 lengths in the morning and you decide every other stroke you're going to do a front crawl, like a fast front crawl, you're ramping up that intensity. Same on a cross trainer. If you do 5 count cross training, you decide to do 6 count cross trainer, you're turning up that volume. You're finding ways to improve what exercise you do. And that was just an example of a back squat. Again, you can apply this to any sort of training. There is a limit where you'll hit where you can't do more and more volume because you'll be in the gym for hours. So I would definitely go the route of more intensity. With weights, obviously if your form's good, first of all, you don't want to go up with sloppy form. It could be as silly as just improving one set from week to week, just like maybe a little bit heavier or the extra rep or 2. Progressive overload is really overlooked with training. It is such an important tool to improvements. When you do hit that limit with, say, the back squat, when you've done it for 4 weeks and you feel, I cannot go any heavier, then that's a good idea to change your program around. Guys, I hope this video has been useful on progressive overload. Obviously, any questions, always hit me up.